Hi y'all, welcome to my lesson for Snowflight by Andrew York. This piece comes from the Pumping Nylon Easy to Intermediate Repertoire book by Scott Tennant. And this piece is first and foremost an exercise in arpeggios, specifically the PIM arpeggio, thumb, index, and middle. So let's talk briefly about how to do that. This is going to be what we call a block planting arpeggio, meaning that when our thumb plays, both of our other fingers, index and middle, are going to get on the string simultaneously. You may want to just practice playing both of those at the same time to get used to this. Once that feels comfortable, move on to the arpeggio. So we'll go thumb, index, middle, and as middle plays, the thumb returns to the string at the same time. So I'm right now on strings 5, 3, and 2 for this practice. Before you start the piece, really get comfortable with the arpeggio. One last thing to think about, make sure that as your middle finger plays, that all 3 fingers, middle, ring, and pinky, move together as a unit. Once you've mastered this technique, you're ready to start the piece. And before you start, think of one more thing. There is a key signature. That key signature is 1 sharp, F sharp. And that means that every note that is F in the piece is actually going to be F sharp. Whether that is on the 1st string, the 4th string, or the 6th string. And we get all of those F sharps in the piece. Okay, now you're ready to begin. And when you begin, think about the musicality from the beginning. We want to have a really good dynamic in the piece. And I think that a good shape that occurs a lot is a crescendo followed by a decrescendo for 2 measures. So the first measure, for instance, we would crescendo. And then we reach our highest point at the start of the next measure and decrescendo. So all of that together would be. Same shape throughout the entire piece. Now, if you go to measure 10, we get a little bit of a different thing. We're going to have to shift, and it's not as clear how to play those notes. Remember that as you're doing this arpeggio, you should always play each note of the arpeggio on a different string. If you catch yourself playing 2 notes on the same string within the same pattern, thumb, index, and middle, something's wrong. So look at measure 10. This is actually pretty straightforward, but then when we get to measure 11, instead of playing those notes D and then F sharp on the same string, we're gonna play that D on 5th string, 5th fret. So you can play those 2 measures like this. And you're just shifting with the ring finger and middle finger. One other place where the fingers are not as clear is the very end. So now let's go to the very last line of music for Snowflight. And this is how it goes. We have pretty straightforward E, E, and G, then E, G, and B. We're just going up the strings. But then we have E, E, and G. And instead of E and G being here, we're going to play E on the 2nd string, 5th fret. And then the last 2 notes, B and G, are 2nd string, 8th fret with the middle finger, and 1st string, 7th fret with the index finger. One last thing to keep in mind for this is there are going to be just a couple of places where you're also going to have to use your ring finger. For instance, measure 13. You have this arpeggio where we're just doing the same thing. P-I-M, 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 but then we get a 1st string, and that'll have to be with ring finger. So there, you'll have to use a block plant of all 4 fingers. So there's just a couple instances where that happens, and really make sure you look out for that. You really want to make sure that you block plant that note. It will make it so much cleaner and nicer and more consistent. All right, that's all I have to say for Snowflight. Really, once again, before you get started on it, make sure that that arpeggio is going really well, that you feel confident about the right hand. But once you have that, you're ready to go. All right, thanks for watching.